about financial health and taxes. Might sound dull, as one of our guests had put it, but it's actually a very, very important thing, and literally everyone has to pay it. Although the military don't have to pay property taxes, but they still got to pay income taxes. So let's talk about it. First things first, Millions Are Made is a show where we believe everyone can become a millionaire in all 6 aspects of health. That includes physical, financial, spiritual, social, mental, and intellectual. It's a show built on the fundamental belief that every person you know, or every person you meet, knows something that you don't, and there's something to be learned from everyone. So we've got 3 awesome guests. I got 3 different pieces of advice for you to learn a little something about taxes. In the spirit of authenticity, I do not ever know who our guests are until about 15 minutes before. Removes bias or anything like that, where we just invite guests that agree with what I say on our show. I like to have various guests from all over the world. Today we've got a guest from the Caribbean and a guest from, I believe, England. So it should be super exciting. Audience, please ask any questions. It's a tough subject. It's a crazy subject. Billion-dollar industry, taxes. If you have any questions, ask them. We'll put them live. We'll ask our guests, let them know. If you ever want to be a guest on our show, we always need guests. Check out millionairesaremade.com. We have our schedule there for our next 3-4 months of episodes. Pick one you like, and maybe you can come on and share a tip too. Without further ado, we have 2 sponsors today. Our first is one of the, oh man, there's nothing more positive I can say about Tony Lynch. He's a crazy, crazy awesome guy. The things that he's doing in this world are changing lives. So we're shouting out his podcast. It's a crazy podcast that you just need to go learn about. I mean, we've all dealt with grief in different ways. Tony has a background that really, really deals with grief, and his podcast is called Grief. Let's talk about it. Link popping up right now. Go check that podcast out. Go connect with Tony Lynch. He's changing the way we think about grief, the way we deal with grief, the way we work with grief. He's helping mental health across the world. He's got some massive plans for this year. So if you have experienced grief in any way, please connect with him. And our next sponsor is my favorite sponsor so far. Actually, I like Tony a lot too. But this is our InstaFarm. They sent me a product. It's an indoor microgreen garden. All you do is open up the seeds, stick it in, wait 7 days. Boom, you got health in your kitchen. Their link is popping up below as well, so you can go check them out and say hi. Last thing, if you have any topics that you have questions on, let us know. We'd love to put them on air. We'll find some awesome guests for you, and we'll go give you some tips. So if you have any topics, millionairesaremade.com. Check out our Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you want. Send us a message, and we'll get that topic on air. Without further ado, all my boring stuff is out of the way, so let's get down to the nitty-gritty and talk about taxes. Here's my tax tip. If you want to lower tax liability, so tax liability is what you basically pay taxes on. It can grow with your income growing, and it can decrease if your income decreases, but there's other ways as well. You can also write off things if you own a business. So first things first, I would say, is form an LLC. Your LLC does not have to make money. It does not have to be profitable. It can actually lose money, and it can still reduce your tax liability, and allows you to write off things for your business as opposed to things you cannot write off personally. Everyone here should have an LLC. Just call it your name. Some famous rapper said, "I'm not a businessman. I'm a business, man." And that's kind of what he's referring to. Treat yourself as a business. Get the write-offs. Get the expended things. Hire a CPA to help you out if you need. I guarantee the CPA, if they're good, they're going to save you way more money than they cost. It's a great investment to hire a CPA. If you need an awesome one, I know one. Hit me up, but there's tons of them all over the world. CPAs can be great. Get some referrals because there are a couple bad ones. But my tip for you, if you want lower tax liability, form an LLC right now. Get a CPA to teach you how to write off and deduct expenses to lower your tax liability. That's all I've got for you. We're going to bring out our first guest here. Her name is Brandy. Brandy, how you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I am doing awesome. let me ask you a question. Who are you?
So Brandy Bowdry of Bowdry's Consulting. I am the CFO to these small business owners out here. I can help you whether you're just getting started or if you're already an established business. We're going to make sure that you're structured properly and get capital to start up or to maintain.
Okay, well, I'm going to add a couple questions in here. First off, are you guys a CPA as well?
I'm not a CPA. I do work with one.
Okay, do have them. So if you need tax, anything like that, set up properly, Brandy is the one to go
Right.
to. All right, Brandy. Well, hopefully you know something about taxes. If I wanted to improve my financial health with taxes, what tiny simple tip would you give me?
I would say keep good, accurate records. We don't do that. And then at the end of the year, you're like, oh, let me grab this, and you want to show up with a bunch of receipts. They hate that. So make sure, even if you have some type of accounting software or you don't, just save it in, put it on an Excel spreadsheet. Just keep those accurate records, turn it over to your CPA or whoever's doing your taxes at the end, and then they can sort through. You might think it's not a write-off, but they may find that it really is. So anything, just keep the accurate records and turn them over at the end of the year.
Do you have a recommendation for a product or something that you can get that can help keep them? So it's not too expensive.
You can do a QuickBooks. You can do the one version. It's an Intuit like online, and literally you can put anything. You can connect it to your bank account, and it can sort it for you. So just something simple.
Can you take pictures of receipts and upload it quickly?
That's in one of the other softwares, so you can do that. I don't think QuickBooks would allow you to do that, but there are softwares out there that will allow. So whatever you find is best for you, like if you feel like time saving that you need to just take a picture, whatever, but just make sure that you're keeping it somehow and that it's getting saved.
I mean, you could even just do a Google Drive for your own records and deal with it at the end of the year. Have a Google Drive. You just take all your pictures of your receipts, and they're all chronologically in order, or at least somewhat close. And then pay your CPA to deal with it. All right, Brandy. Well, tell me a little bit about yourself. Well, what happened on your journey that taught you to keep records? Hopefully there's not a horror story, or maybe there is.
It's not really bad. So I was that one when I first started my business that I showed up with like a box full of receipts. And she was like, no, ma'am, what is this? And I was like, oh, you don't do, and I mean, I kept my receipts, so I thought I was just doing good. So I had to learn to do software to put it in easily each month or each transaction. And then it was easier for myself. And then for her, like at the end of the year, I didn't have to think like, where's this? Okay, make sure I grab this. It's already in there. I could send it right over to her. So yeah, that was my horror story where she was like, man, we're not doing this.
Another good idea would be just to have a Gmail account just for your business receipts, so that when you get the digital receipts, you can just forward them over and keep them there. So we do that a couple times too, and then someone has to deal with it at the end of the year.
And then I started next like, here she goes again.
Cool, awesome. Any last pieces of advice for us before we move on to our next guest?
I totally agree with you when you were saying start the LLC. Make sure that those write-offs are important. It saves you a lot. And you're like, oh, you just be surprised. So get that LLC, keep those accurate records, and just get that business going, structured, and getting those write-offs, saving money.
Lower that tax liability. There's so many ways to do it, but first step is you got to have an LLC or some sort of business. Get your EIN number. If you have questions, I'll fucking get it for you.
And it's so easy. Go online. Just go online to your Secretary of State.
Do not pay $500 to form your business. It takes less than 10 minutes, and it costs like $50 to $100.
Exactly, it's $50 in Missouri. It's $50 in Missouri online. I can go on and I have my LLC in less than 5 minutes.
EINs are free. Do not freaking pay someone to do it. You're smart enough to figure it out. Go get your EIN, get your LLC, start your little business, and get those tax deductors. I mean, you see all over. If you follow anyone on TikTok with financial advice, rent one of the rooms as an office. There's so many ways and loopholes and deductibles, but all that starts with a good CPA or a good consulting term like Boundaries Consulting that can help you learn all this.
Definitely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Brandy. We're going to move on to our next guest, Aoife. Hey, Aoife, how you doing today?
I'm good. A minor correction. I'm Irish, actually, not English.
Dang, I said maybe I forgot to ask before. Slip me.
No, that's
so you're in Ireland.
I'm Irish. I am currently in Ireland in an Irish car park, and my first name is Irish as well.
Fuck it. Lovely. All right. Well, apologize to our viewers, Irish. I'm actually more Irish than English, so I like that more now. Woohoo! All right, Aoife, tell me who you are. Who are you?
I'm a little middle-aged Irish lady sitting in a little Irish car park. I'm a certified money coach.
Okay.
Yeah, the first Irish certified money coach in Ireland. So that is what I do, and my business name is Prudence Money Penny Coaching. And Prudence came about for lots of reasons, but mostly because non-Irish people find my first name difficult to pronounce.
I only took like 2 or 3 tries on
And
that.
that's okay. And you
shabby,
asked,
right?
but I'm not too fussed about it. Lots of people get it wrong, so it doesn't faze me in the slightest.
Okay, so we'll get back to this when we talk about your journey, but I do want to learn more about how you were the first certified. But let's ask you something real important. If I wanted to improve my financial health with taxes, what tiny piece of advice would you give me?
Hey, read the tax return form. And I know it's maybe not the most exciting thing in the world to do, but it actually makes you realize all of the ways that money can come into your life, and it gives you really handy prompts about things that you can write off. So we have a slightly different structure in Ireland. We don't have LLCs, we have 2 options. So you can be a sole trader or you can set up a limited company. So there's slightly different options, similar principles, but either way, when you kind of read all of the ways that money can come into your life, it makes you think, well, it doesn't have to just come into my life from a job. I could do this, or I could have a farm. I could, in Ireland, income from artists, the income is tax-free. So royalty income is tax-free in Ireland. So if you write a book, if you write a song, which is why a lot of Irish, well, not even a lot of musicians would make themselves tax resident in Ireland because their income is tax-free.
Who are some famous ones that have done that?
So, well, like I can only think of Irish people. So, oh goodness, what's his? Bono is tax resident here.
Yeah,
Enya, well, Sinead O'Connor, no, she's recently deceased. So lots and lots
royalties
of
are tax-free.
royalties. Right. Yeah, royalty income is tax-free. So if you live in Ireland, write a book, write a song. And so royalty income is at the moment, until somebody changes it, it is tax-free.
That's why eventually I'm going to have to have like a house in 10 different countries and like have different. I mean, I have a house in Texas, so I don't pay state taxes, and I'm in the Virgin Islands, so federal taxes are really now I need to just taxes. The tax law is crazy everywhere. Learning all of it. All right, so let's talk about your journey. Where in your life, how did you learn about this tip? And how did you become the first certified?
Yeah, I have a background in finance. I was a financial advisor. I still am sort of technically. I just don't really chase people down the road selling them life insurance anymore. But I still maintain my qualification. And then I thought there's a lot more to money than just more in, less out at the end. So I deal more now with the kind of the psychology of money, the mindset, or the behavioral side. So I was looking for the piece of paper because you can't get out of bed without the piece of paper, because nobody will take you seriously without the piece of paper. And that's just a ridiculous story that I was telling myself. And I came across the Money Coaching Institute when I was doing a Google search. And so I just happened to be the first person in Ireland to do that. So very happy with that. And I will keep that crown forever. So all of this kind of came about because I had a massive tax bill. A complicated situation, ended up being an accidental landlord. Anyway, just a few things in my life imploded, and I had this huge tax bill, and I just didn't know how.
You became an accidental landlord?
An accidental landlord. Yeah, an accidental landlord is when you can't afford the mortgage that you're living in. So you go, you rent it out, and then you rent something around the corner cheaper. So is what's considered an accidental landlord.
Okay, that makes sense. Cool.
Yeah, so I had this anyway. I had this huge tax bill, and I was, oh crikey, how am I going to pay this? And then it's okay. I am an intelligent person. I can figure this stuff out. So I went up to the library, printed off this 30-page tax form, went through it page by page, said, oh, oh, I could write this off and I could write that off. And I never knew that, because it's not something that's kind of, it's not the most interesting thing in the world. And it's not something that you maybe would discuss at a dinner party. And I thought, okay, well, I'll just do what a wealthy person would do, because wealthy people are very strategic. So tax evasion is a crime. Tax avoidance is being strategic.
All right.
And there's a big
I like that.
difference. And then I thought, okay, well, I could write this off and I could write that off. And I never knew that I could put that income into that bracket. And then I got the bill down to something quite manageable. I think it was, I don't know, €1,000 or something. But if I hadn't taken that time to do that, I probably would have just paid the bill without question and then sobbed into my tea then for the next 10 years.
That's awesome. Aoife, are you able to do you do coaching or consulting across the world, or is it just in Ireland?
I do it wherever there is a car park and I can hotspot off the phone. No, I have clients, international clients. So depending on the time zone, at least one person will be in their pajamas, and that's okay. So 99% of my coaching is online coaching.
Perfect. All right. And her link is right below. You can go check out Aoife. Thank you so much. We're going to move on to our next guest. Hey, Shanoa, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Can you tell me who you are?
Yes, I am Shanoa. I am a financial advisor. I'm a certified retirement counselor, also a certified divorce financial analyst. And additionally, I'm a fitness expert. So I have combined my love and passions of finance and fitness. And now I work as a coach to help my clients improve their physical health and wellness, and also to improve their financial fitness.
Nice. All right. Well, let me ask you this. If I wanted to improve my financial health by using taxes, what piece of advice would you give me?
Yeah, so my advice coming from a financial advisor would be to decrease your taxable income and grow your retirement savings tax deferred by contributing to a 401k plan.
401k. Okay, let's talk a tiny bit about that for those that may not know. A 401k. Tell me the easiest way and tell me the hardest way to get it.
Mm-hmm. Well, 401k is an employer-sponsored retirement savings plan. So you'll first want to check to see if your employer offers a 401k plan. If they do and you're eligible, you can contribute to your 401k. The money that you put into a 401k is deducted from your taxable income for the year. So, that in simple terms, you're going to pay less taxes because you have less taxable income. The more you contribute, the lower your taxable income, and the less you'll owe the IRS. So, that's exciting news. Additionally, your contributions.
Quick question.
Yes.
If I don't have an employer that offers a 401k, am I fucked?
You're not necessarily fucked. There are other options. If your employer does not offer a 401k, you should look into options like a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA, which is an individual retirement account that you can contribute to.
And if you have questions on that, more than what we're covering right now, Shanoa's links are right in the comments. Contact Shanoa because she knows all about it. And I guarantee you have more questions than can be answered in the next minute and a half with Shanoa. All right, Shanoa, let's start on your background. I mean, what happened in your life journey? Where did you start really getting focused on 401ks and IRAs? What happened?
Through my training to become a financial advisor and a financial coach. I would say I was pretty clueless up until my late 20s, early 30s. I never really heard of a 401k. I'm sure I had them at old employers, but never took the time to see what my options are, wasn't contributing to any retirement plans. And then as I began my journey as a financial advisor and was learning about 401ks and IRAs and tax deferral and the power of compounding interest, I thought, I should not only talk to clients about this, but I need to apply this to my own personal situation as well. So it was a combination of on-the-job career training and, out of personal necessity that I learned more about 401ks and the importance of saving for retirement. And the sooner you start, the earlier that you can retire.
That's good. That's good advice.
Yes, exactly.
Cool. Awesome. Well, we're going to bring everyone out and have a little discussion and see what we all are seeing. We'll bring Brandy back out, bring Aoife. All right, guys, we'll start with Brandy, who was first. Brandy, can you quickly refresh what your tip was?
So make sure that you keep good and accurate records. Don't, at the end of the year, go running around looking for receipts. Make sure that you're putting those in daily, monthly, however you want to do it, but accurate records. Scan them in somehow and keep them.
Aoife, what are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. Yeah, the better the records you keep in whatever shape or form you keep them, whether it's an Excel spreadsheet, whether it's a biscuit tin, it's some fancy piece of software. If you don't know your numbers, so if you don't know how much you spent on or how much you earned, it's very difficult then to know if your tax bill is right or wrong. And then if you are facing an audit, and at some point in their lives, most people will face an audit, then at least you're organized and it removes so much anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And Shanoa, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, can't do right with being organized and keeping good records. When I was younger, I did find myself in the poor habit of not keeping good records. So, sloppy reporting has taught me the importance of keeping good and accurate records. And now my son is 18, and I've taught him the same thing that Brandy's saying: keep your receipts, upload them, keep them on your computer. Like, start good habits young to create lasting habits throughout your life.
So I completely disagree. I think you should throw everything away, keep it unorganized, and forget at the end of the year. Nice try, Brent.
Your CPA is like, what are you doing?
That's going to cost a lot more money for
Right.
them. Hey, Aoife, can you quickly refresh us what your tip was?
Yeah, so my tip, and it's really, really dull, it's really just to kind of empower yourself around the tax laws in your country. And so the way I did it was by printing off a tax return form and reading it. And a random fact about taxes is that Bram Stoker, the author of Dracula, actually worked in the tax office in Dublin Castle.
That's wild. That's very cool. Shanoa, what are your thoughts on that tip?
Well, I think it's a great tip to be familiar with the forms, and so you have better understanding. I think that tax forms are very confusing. So the more familiar you are with it, the more you can take advantage of the different tax breaks and different things you can write off on your taxes. So I think for the average person, reading over the tax form would be a little bit mind-blowing. And if it is overwhelming, review it with your tax professional to make sure you completely understand every line by line item on that form.
Brandy, what are your thoughts?
I definitely agree, because if you're familiar with what you can write off, then definitely, okay, make sure this is scanned in. Although I would say to scan everything in if you're in doubt, but if you're familiarizing yourself with what you can write off and what goes where, it definitely will help you to understand and prepare yourself when you're dealing with your CPA.
So my favorite part about this tip is it's something that can be done anywhere. So even if you can't afford a CPA, you can't afford a bookkeeper, you're struggling, you're trying to meet the bills, and you're trying to just save some money on taxes. I mean, you can take that tax code, you can read it. It may be confusing. You can Google parts of it. You can try to do your research, but it's something you can do on your own. And it's knowledge that you'll have the rest of your life. Even if they change a tax code here or there, specific things, it's something that you'll always know at least the basic how it works, which I think is actually really, really powerful. Hey, Shanoa, can you quickly remind us of your tip?
Yes, taxable income and grow your retirement savings tax deferred by contributing to an employer-sponsored 401k plan or an individual retirement account.
I like it. Aoife, what are your thoughts? Do you have those in Ireland or something similar?
Yeah. So some people break out in a bit of a cold sweat when, you say the word pension, because in 08, 09, the pension funds really struggled, and that was an economic grenade. But so instead of if the word pension, sometimes even the wording of something, if the wording of something is sort of triggering, then you can change the words. Like, I'm not the word police. If you don't like the word pension, then don't use it. Use tax efficient savings plan, or use strategic way of saving money for when I retire. So whatever words kind of resonate with you. So again, yeah, we would call them pensions or PRSAs, same sort of principle, just a slightly different way of going about it. And if your employer, like under Irish law, the employer has to offer you the facility, they just don't have to contribute to it. But if your employer is contributing, you say, thank you very much, I'll have that and the cherry on top, please, because it's free money.
I agree. Brandy, what are your thoughts?
I definitely agree with both. As far as when she was just talking about change the wording, that's your mindset. But just know that in the end, it's money. It's helping you overall, helping you retire. As Shanoa said, you can retire earlier, the earlier you start. And if definitely your employer is investing and they're matching, then put the more in, because it's helping you. Look at it at its end result. It's definitely helping you. So I definitely agree with both thoughts on that.
I love it. Yeah, and if you don't have an employer,
do not pass up the match.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry, do not pass up the employer match.
Yes,
that's free
money. It's free money.
Yeah.
If you're putting 90, they're putting 90. So get it in. Yeah, the earlier you start, the earlier you can retire. No one wants to work for the rest of their lives. So definitely.
Yeah, I always tell clients at least contribute that the employer will match. If that's all you can contribute, fine, but at least do not pass up on the amount that your employer will match.
Right.
And this advice definitely targets and sits even more effective with 20 to 28-year-olds. If you're working for Target or Walmart and you're just starting out your career and they have a 401k, you got to learn how to live without that money so you can go match it. You will thank yourself 20 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years from that moment. You may not be thinking about your future now, but if you're 20 to 28 years old and you have the option for a 401k, the four of us are saying you must invest in it, or we will come find you.
Definitely.
All right, guys. We're coming up to my favorite part of the episode. It's our daily challenge. So we have to come up with something that takes less than 5 minutes a day, costs $0, and is available to anyone from New Zealand to Ireland. Do you guys have any thoughts or ideas?
I would say go ahead and research which way works best for you saving those documents. Like you said, whether Google Drive, Excel. So take that first step.
Any thoughts, Aoife or Shanoa?
Yeah. And if keeping receipts becomes kind of overwhelming, you can just pay for everything with your card. So, okay, people have mixed views about that, but if you lose the receipt, it's not as chaotic as if you're paying in cash. But certainly, some people have mixed views about paying for card. But for my business, I don't handle cash at all, and then I don't stress out if I lose a vital piece of paper.
Yeah. Well, I typically tell people to look at their investments or their 401k every day, or they'll drive themselves crazy. So I don't know that would be the best advice, but I'd say, at least do one thing a day, take a couple minutes a day to educate yourself about taxes, about the power of tax deferred growth. Be informed and be involved in your tax health, your financial health. Be involved on a daily basis.
So I was kind of leaning towards that too, thinking maybe every day, less than 5 minutes, maybe research a deduction in your tax law on your either local or state or your national taxes. I mean, in 7 days, if we learn 7 deductions, that's actually pretty powerful.
Definitely.
And obviously, AFA already has done that 100 times, so maybe we make it challenging and she has to learn Australia's laws.
Yep, you can see why people are just hammering down my front door to invite me to dinner parties.
That's great. Any thoughts on that? Maybe spend 5 minutes every day, research a deduction on your taxes. It may not be relevant to you now. Maybe it's a business deduction, but at least knowing that that exists out there. You know, if you know you can depreciate a house or depreciate a rental, you know, that might change your future. You might go get into rental properties or something like that. Like, I mean, there's a lot out there that, I mean, shit, there's a lot out there the 4 of us probably don't even know that some people take advantage of all the time. But if you guys agree with that, I think that's a pretty good challenge, is find a new deduction every day on your tax code.
I'd also say learn the language of wealthy people. So, you know, learn and start flinging the words into sentences. You know, ooh, I think I'll just look at my pension portfolio. I look at my investment portfolio. Your investment portfolio could be 2 jam jars with coins in them. It doesn't matter. It's when you start using words that wealthy people would use, you are really shifting your mindset into like, I'm worth more than this. I can do this. I am an intelligent person. I am worthy of more.
I like that a lot too. I'm adding that in. Use a wealth word. Pension, stock portfolio, ROI. What are some other ones?
Strategic, abundant. Just even if you make up the word or just swallow the dictionary, it doesn't matter. It's really just about kind of thinking big and using words that resonate with you and make you feel wealthier and more empowered. Like, words are very unique to us. So if your investment portfolio is 2 jam jars in the kitchen with coins in them, then that's fine. But don't call it the 2 jam jars, call it your investment portfolio.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Awesome. Well, we got our challenge and we're going to use fancy words and we're going to research our tax code and learn a little bit more each day. So hopefully we'll be challenging you guys to do it. I'm actually very curious what new deductions we can learn. It's going to be a fun one. Any last bits before we end this, guys?
Happy taxing.
All righty. Thank you guys so much for coming. It was awesome having you all. Thanks for watching again. That was a very informative episode. Another episode of Millions Are Made, Financial Health, Taxes. We had 4 awesome tips. So if you're looking to reduce your taxes, pay less money, save more money for yourself, check it out. We got a daily challenge. It's going to be awesome. We're going to use wealth words, portfolios, investments, stocks, ROI, strategy, real estate, words like that that are going to make us feel and act more wealthy. And we're also going to spend at least 5 minutes a day researching a new deduction that you can get on your tax code. May not be relevant to you now, but at least you know you can save money in